So, April 26th, 2025, a really significant day globally as we're seeing the funeral of Pope Francis.
Right. A religious leader whose influence, well, it genuinely reached across the entire world.
And the scale of the event today in Vatican City, it's just quite something.
It really is. You look at the list of attendees, it's unprecedented, really. We're talking over 50 heads of state.
Yeah, I saw the list. President Trump from the U.S., Zelensky from Ukraine, Macron from France.
hmm And Prince William is there representing King Charles. Plus, what, 10 reigning monarchs?
Wow. It absolutely underscores the kind of global impact he had.
Definitely speaks volumes.
So for this deep dive, we wanted to look at the funeral itself, what the details, the choices made, tell us about his life, his legacy. We're drawing on the reports coming out today.
And I think what immediately hits you, looking at the coverage, is the atmosphere there in St. Peter's Square.
How would you describe it?
Well, it's this profound solemnity, a deep respect, but mixed with this almost tangible feeling of global unity. Thousands of mourners standing right alongside these world leaders.
It's quite the image. He passed away just a few days back, didn't he? April 21st.
That's right, at 88. And
Yeah.
the themes that keep coming up when people remember him are, well, his strong voice for peace, obviously, his commitment to human rights.
Climate action, too. That was huge for him.
Absolutely. But also, sort of underpinning all that, this real sense of personal humility, a desire for simplicity.
And that simplicity, that humility, it seems really reflected in his choice of burial site.
Oh, absolutely. That's perhaps one of the most striking things. A significant break from, centuries of papal tradition.
Okay, let's maybe unpack that a bit. He chose the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica, not the usual papal tombs under St. Peter's. Why is that so important?
Well, think about the traditional papal tombs, often quite elaborate, in the crypts, grand sarcophagi. His choice, Santa Maria Maggiore, is a basilica with huge significance for the people of Rome, a very ancient and cherished place.
Right.
So choosing that, it seems to really emphasize that lifelong focus on humility, on keeping the church connected to the everyday lives of people. It's less about papal grandeur, more about sort of pastoral closeness.
That feels very consistent, doesn't it? When you think back to him being Jorge Mario Bergoglio from Argentina,
From Buenos Aires.
becoming Pope in 2013, and then choosing the name Francis after St. Francis of Assisi, it all seems to line up.
It really does. It connects directly to the core themes of his time as Pope. That focus on social justice was constant.
And interfaith dialogue, he really pushed that forward.
Yeah, and being a really prominent voice on environmental protection, he wasn't one to shy away from tackling difficult global issues head on, was he?
No, definitely not. Things like the migrant crisis, poverty, climate change, he addressed them very directly.
And I think that candidness, that sort of straightforward approach, is a big part of why he resonated so widely, across different faiths, different cultures.
So the funeral mass itself, led by Cardinal Parolin, reports suggest it reflected that same simplicity.
Exactly. Deeply spiritual, yes, but also quite intimate, apparently. Not overly elaborate. They included Latin and Italian hymns, and the prayers focused specifically on peace and unity.
Which really encapsulates his work, doesn't it?
Basically, it brings it all together.
And then that final moment, the coffin being lowered into the tomb there in the basilica, a quiet end to a life that made a lot of noise, in a good way.
Yeah. So when we think about his legacy, what stands out?
Well, I think you have to talk about the transformative impact he had. His push on social issues really did seem to spur the church towards more active engagement with modern challenges.
I agree. And his call for compassion, especially in, let's face it, a pretty divided world, that message struck a chord with so many people, inside and outside the church.
There's a quote here from a Father Luis Gamboa that seems to capture it. He said, "He was the voice of reason in a tumultuous world. His work will continue to resonate not just in the church, but in all corners of society."
That sums it up well. I think he leaves behind a church that feels, to many, more inclusive, maybe more progressive in some ways, certainly more focused on serving humanity broadly.
He really became a kind of beacon, didn't he, for hope, compassion.
A beacon of hope, compassion, and deep devotion. This global remembrance really highlights that.
So wrapping up this deep dive then, we've seen this global farewell, but one that interestingly highlighted his humility right to the end, like that burial choice.
Right. And the legacy seems clear. It's about his work for a more just, more compassionate world. A call to action in many ways.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. How much can a leader's personal values, like the humility we saw reflected in Pope Francis's final wishes, truly shape their lasting impact on the world?
Yeah, makes you think, doesn't it? What other historical figures can you point to where their final decisions, their final arrangements, reveal something profound about their life's work and priorities? Something to ponder.